welcome back to the shed. Cheers. Righto, so today we're going to be talking about pulse features on the Tetrix 230. So there's a few different pulse modes that are available to us. Each have their own little intricacies and quirks, which are all good things which you can use to your advantage when you're welding. So I might go through the basics of the different modes that are available to us. So we're starting out in job 0 here, and as you can see, the pulse parameters here, we've currently got no lights illuminated, which means we're on a mode which has no pulse whatsoever, so straight current. First one we'll speak about is the automatic pulsing. So automatic pulsing is a feature which allows the pulse frequency to go up or down with the amperage that we set. So the amperage could be your peak amperage that you set, in this case 100 amps, or as the machine ramps up from your starting current through the upslope time to your peak, or to your working amperage range. And also on the other side of the welding timeline at the bottom when the weld is finishing, where you have a downslope time and a finishing amperage or amperage percentage. So automatic pulsing is able to be configured in the expert menu or in the background menu on this machine to actually to be in place during the upslope and downslope, or you can make sure that it's turned off during that time, so it's straight current as it ramps up, and then it will automatically pulse at this time or down. So yeah, that's one of the features here. So automatic pulsing is available in DC only. Automatic pulsing also works quite well with the foot pedal. So as you stomp that pedal, the pulse frequency becomes lower. So high amperages, lower pulse frequency. Smaller amperages, higher frequency. So yeah, that can give you a interesting setting throughout the range. On the green lights on here, we are in what's called thermal pulsing. So thermal pulsing is available in both DC and AC modes. For purposes of this one, thermal pulsing allows us to choose a peak amperage there, a time that peak amperage is on for, a base amperage, and a time that base amperage is on for. So this is something that comes into the concept of average value pulsing. Obviously, if you've got 100 amps peak and 100 amps peak for 0.1 second and 50 amps base for 0.2 seconds, let's just say we'll put that down to 0.1, so the time frame that it spends high and low is the same. The effective current in between that is going to be the average of the two, because the time is equal. So in this case 100 to 50, so it would be effectively 75 amps. If you want to work to an actual amp value, or effective amps for the pulse, then you can do what's called average value pulsing, and we'll talk about that in a whole different video. The third mode we have available to us, which is called Metallurgical Pulsing. So metallurgical pulsing is a DC only feature. You can see once we move it to AC, that light turns off. Oh, push the wrong button, bloody hell. So back to DC, light goes red, we are in metallurgical pulsing. So metallurgical pulsing allows us to choose our peak and base currents. It also gives us a balance and the frequency. This is in kilohertz. So 0.05 kilohertz is, move the decimal place 3 places, 50 hertz. So yeah, this frequency can go all the way up. It's like up to 15,000 hertz, which is ear piercing. One of my other videos that was actually something that we used on some exhaust pipe. The next one is AC Special. we're in DC mode now. AC special obviously doesn't work in DC, so we move it to AC, and here we are in AC special. So AC special is a AC pulse, an AC waveform with a section which is defined DC. So it's probably easiest to draw that if we move over to the our ghetto drawing area. So if this is your welding graph, you'll have a section of AC. Let's just say it's a sine curve. So you'll have your waveform in sine. Obviously this will go on for quite a period of time, and then you'll have a DC section, and then it will go back into it again. I'm not the best drawer, but yeah, that's the concept of AC special. So AC special will allow a period where the aluminium oxide layer is being blasted out of the way. You get the cleaning effect, you get the penetration effect in the negative portions and the positive portions of that waveform, and then you get a bit of essentially a respite period in the DC section, which the EWM guys say that the AC special is good for welding materials of different thicknesses. So yeah, that's that. That's a special waveform, something interesting. Moving you back over to the machine, and yeah, probably worth talking about the average value pulsing, which is something which sits within this feature here. So that is what we call, what was it, the thermal pulsing? Thermal pulsing, which is available in AC or DC. Average value pulsing works within this variable, and on this machine it's either or. You can either have thermal pulsing, where you are choosing your peak current, base current and time that it spends in between under the T button, or T logo, 50 amps, time to 1.1 second. So you can either do that, or you can do average value pulsing. To get to average value pulsing, go to the expert menu, turn machine off, hold in button, turn machine on, go to configuration mode, enter, enter, enter. We're looking for PAV right there, which we turned on. Enter, go back through to here to end, and then here we are at average value pulsing. As you can see now, both lights have illuminated. So average value pulsing is going to be talked in depth in the in the next video, but average value pulsing essentially allows you to choose, at the moment where we're on these two buttons are illuminated, we're going to average at 100. And what the machine will do is we'll set a lot of the parameters up, or essentially the base current up, and it will allow that amount or that amperage to be realised. So we'll talk about that in depth, but until then, that's a bit of a basic understanding of what the pulse features are in this machine, and yeah, stay tuned for the next one. Cheers. Okay, we've done ourselves a mischief here, and we've rigged up a little bit of a torch holder, and we're going to have a look at some of the different pulse features and just see if we can get a bit of a shot of what the arc does at different parameters. So we've got the Tetrix here. We've just set it to a nominal 60 amps peak. This is just a standard old no pulse, so straight polarity. We're in DC output, DC current, direct current, and we've currently got the foot pedal attached, so we'll be able to give it a bit of a whirl. So yeah, let's get set up here, get our lens across, and get it started with the full 60 amps. Just give it a bit of right. Obviously 60 amps, everyone can see what that is like. Pretty standard. Alright, so we'll move to the next pulse mode, which is automatic pulsing. So this one is interesting for me because foot pedal means that pulse frequency changes with foot depression. So let's slide this across, and hopefully you'll be able to see through it for starters, but secondly you'll be able to see what the pulse does. So once again, we're only maxing out at 60 amps. What I might actually do in this instance is bump it up to 230 maximum output, just so we can get a feel of what it can do across the whole range. Righto, so arcing up, that's a high frequency. We're going to go to about 20%, 30, 40, 50. That's full current. So that's automatic pulsing. In my mind, that's pretty neat. So yeah, with the way the pulse works, even though the machine was set to 230 amps, at full pedal depression we're only getting 160 amps of effective current. So right, yeah. With that in mind, let's move on to the next one, which is probably going to need a camera on the machine itself, but right, yeah. Let's move it up here. We'll put it back in the tripod and give it a whirl here. So, alright, peak current 230, because we're only welding on some 3mm mild steel, just as something to arc on essentially. We're going to go back down to about just 60 amps, just a 70 will do. There, so we're going to put 0.1 second, we'll make it half a second peak, 50 amps, actually we will, oops, you're going to have a 50% base current, so if we're on 70, 50% of it is 35, and we're going to do that time for the same half a second. It's going to have half a second at 70, half a second at 35. Okay, moving over. Get a bit of focus. Rightio, so I'll go up to full current on the pedal, so now we're at our full amperage. That's what you're looking at there. Taper that off. Right now. So next one, which is pretty neat, as I've already said before, is the Kilohertz Pulsing. So Kilohertz Pulsing allows us to do a range of frequencies, which are accessible by this button. So 50 Hertz. So the only thing we're going to change in this one is just the frequency. You get to see it through the range. So we'll get that to focus right. So 50 Hertz. 50 Hertz. 120 Hertz. 250 Hertz. 500 Hertz. 1000 Hertz. 2,500 Hertz. Hertz. 7,500 Hertz. Hertz. 12,500 Hertz. And we'll max it out at 15,000 Hertz just for fun. 15k, I can't even hear that. That's yeah, pretty well. Yeah, probably worth mentioning. I've just pretty much gapped out with some feeler gauges the tungsten to work distance of 2mm, just to keep it constant throughout that time. So yeah, that's Kilohertz Pulsing. And we'll bump it into AC for AC Special. So AC Special looks like this. Keep in mind we've got both AC and DC lights illuminated, and we are on the AC Special Pulse light there. So we might just try not to burn ourselves while we move this out of the way. Put a piece of aluminum of the same thickness just in and under there. Haven't balled a tungsten or anything, but yeah, I don't know, sue me. So that's AC Special. So what we've actually got there, and it's probably worth moving it back up here. Probably should have done this before, but focus with the AC Special. You've got the time that relates to the DC portion. So yeah, that's just how that works. I haven't played around a heap with AC Special yet, but we'll be sure to give it a whirl and bring you guys along for the adventure. So that's the pulse modes in a nutshell. So that will pretty much do us. Thanks for watching.